Stan's your guy.
I just heard Stan Pearson the second.
Stan Pearson did an amazing job.
Today I heard Stanley the second.
Stan Pearson is an amazing host.
Stan was fantastic. He made the whole crowd laugh.
I thought it was really good.
So much fun. He was great. Fantastic. It was great. It was good.
I don't meet very many Black Stanley.
It was pretty amazing. He's so
So listen, if it wasn't for Stan, I wouldn't be where I am today. Get to him. Stan, I appreciate you, bro.
Good morning, or dare I say, top of the morning to you. Welcome to Top of the Morning with Stan, where we, not only discuss some great things that are going on in the world and some information that you might want to know, but we also talk to leading experts in their field of expertise, and today is no different. But before we get to every top of the morning and our very special guest today, I have to point out the most important part of the news. Yes, was there a presidential debate a couple weeks ago, week and a half? Absolutely. It was an incredible comedy special, top 5 all time. Was there also a vice presidential debate that was much less Jerry Springer, more snoozer? I don't know. I guess I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to talk about it a little bit. But those are things going on in our country right now. But most importantly, I don't know if you all are familiar with this or heard this, but the Chicago Bears are 4-1. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, listen, this is Top of the Morning, the best news and all around. So I want to deliver to you the best news. Am I a fair weather friend or fair weather fan? I could be accused of being one. Listen, folks, I want to cheer for winners, okay? And if you earn the win, I'm down for it. And the Bears beat my arch nemesis, as if I've ever played against him before personally. That would be Tom the Cheat Brady, okay? I'm just going to throw it out there. So if you are a New England Patriots fan, I don't care, okay? You don't deserve anything, okay? You've been cheating your whole life. You don't deserve any of it. All right, now that I got that off my chest. Again, welcome to Top of the Morning, where I love to get your day started off on the right foot. Feel free to right now share this as you come across it, because not only will this be a good experience, it's also going to be a great conversation with one of the leading experts in the leadership field. So if you're looking to improve your level of leadership and who you are from the inside out, or looking for a speaker, a consultant to come in and help you and your team become better, look no further. Now, this is what I'm going to do officially, is invite my guest on like the absolute rock star he is, okay? The absolute rock star that he is, all right? And that's just a reminder of what show you're watching, all right? Now, as I present to you, a friend to mine and a friend to me, and certainly to be a friend of yours very shortly, and that's Chris Molina, who is a Marine Corps veteran, a Purdue University alum, and Indiana native. All right. But more than that, and heck, I'm going to bring him on right now as I introduce this guy. All right. And more than that, and more importantly for you to know, he's a speaker and an author that solely focuses on giving college students the leadership training that they need right now so they don't become horrible bosses later. Above everything else, Chris is a husband, a father, #girl dad, a son, and a brother. Oh, snap. Girl dad mug? God, good. Listen, I don't disappoint people. I only bring the best. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, stomp your hands, clump your feet, clap your hands, and then stomp your feet. Chris Molina in the crowd.
Thank you. No, but thank you for that introduction, good sir. I know most people say thank you for having me on. I'm happy to be here, but I want to say that I appreciate you. I appreciate the things that you do. And you could literally be anywhere else in the world right now, but you chose to be here with me, and I appreciate that. So thank you, Stan.
No, thank you so very much, babyface assassin. I'm going to throw that out there.
It's all moisturizer. That's what we got going on here.
That's. I just wanted to hear the truth. I wanted to hear the truth from your mouth. How do you say so? But you just told us.
But yeah, right before you go to bed, right when you wake up, go ahead and put a little bit of moisturizer. So if you follow me, then you're going to get leadership tips and beauty tips all in one package.
Listen, folks, this a one-stop shop. He is only the best here. Only the best. I told you that's how we deliver things here. That's how we deliver things. Great. So tell me more about you, not just me, but tell the folks watching and listening right now. So leadership literacy expert. Mm-hmm. Now, that is a profound statement to have and to be able to deliver. So tell us more about what a leadership literacy expert does and who that is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of goes to a book that I'm writing right now. And it's about leadership literacy, because we're in a society where a majority of our society is leadership illiterate. And just imagine, if you can, with me for 1 second, what our world would look like if most of our leaders in politics, in organizations, in Fortune 100 companies, if they weren't great leaders, no, they don't have to be amazing leaders. If they were just decent leaders, like imagine what our world would look like if every government person, every politician was a decent leader. That would be a different world. That would be a great world to live in. We probably wouldn't even be talking about the debates, because
there'd be no material.
Exactly. There'd be no material. Yeah. So I could talk about that for days, but a leadership literacy expert is somebody that helps people get to where they want to be. I'm in the business of connecting the dots, really, because all the information is out there. Everything is out there. I just need to help those people get the information that they need now, so that they don't become those horrible bosses later. And it's a little bit simple. Can you imagine being a grammar teacher or a reading comprehensive teacher back when the printing press gist was released? Like you would be somebody that could teach a lot of people a lot of things, because not a lot of people could read. And that's exactly where I am right now. And it really all revolves around student leadership for me, because I was just talking to a friend last night, an HR professional for a Fortune 100 company. And that person helps CEOs and people in D-suites navigate their business, because that's what HR does. And she said the amount of time in her day that she has to dedicate to these leaders who don't have general basic leadership traits and principles is ridiculous. It's more than 50% of her day. She has to deal with problems that the CEOs and directors cause because they don't know how to lead. They were good doers, and they kept on getting promoted because they could do things well. None of that has to do with leadership.
Let me stop right there, though. It's an interesting point you bring, and I'd like you to expound, if you can, the difference between a doer and a leader. I think that's major. Some folks, they confuse the two. So please enlighten us a little bit more, the difference between a doer and a leader.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that is well known in the HR world. And I love HR. I didn't study it. I studied business. But anytime I get to study or talk to HR professionals, it is just, I have all the questions in the world. And so a doer is an individual contributor. So whenever you have a job and you have a task, you're doing that task, and you're responsible for doing things. And at the end of the day, you can check those boxes and say, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did my job. That's it. I go home now. When you're a manager of people, that is different. That is one of the most difficult leaps to navigate, from individual contributor to manager of people. And when you're a manager of people, sometimes you do still have to do things. You still have to be that technical expert. But most of the time, your job and your time is dedicated to other people. That's why you're a manager of people. Your whole job is just people. That is it. If you can communicate effectively with people, you can empathize with them, you can lead them to where they need to be. That is what a leader does. Okay. And so that is what a manager of people does. And those things a lot of times don't connect. You can't just jump from one day saying, I'm really good at filling out these reports, and then the next day saying, I'm leading 10 people. I'm going to be really good at that. Those skills don't translate.
Right. Well, now there are some folks that are watching there, and again, as we go back to the notion of keeping people from being horrible bosses, some people are watching, there's very few, if you ask me, who've never had a horrible boss. And if they've never had a horrible boss right now, they're feeling this right now. Just feels all warm and fuzzy and whimsical, woosah and everything. But we know the truth. We know that everyone can't be a great boss, right?
Yes,
we know that. And there's some struggles out there. What are some things that horrible bosses can do, right? Or even students that want to say, like right now, they want to keep from being a horrible boss. What are some things they can do to improve their level of leadership and positive bossness, if you will?
I love that, positive bossness. You put that A in there too.
Thank you for catching that. Not everyone does. I appreciate that.
So first thing is to not fall in this trap. Like we have a lot of things going on, and the solution to it, a lot of the problems that we have in our society is awareness. And so first thing is be aware, and be aware of this trap, this pitfall. And that pitfall is that most people wait until their first supervisor role, the first time that they're manager of people, to start buying leadership books, to start going to leadership conferences, and to go to leadership summits. That's too late. And that is a fact. That happens all the time. You can ask any professional. They will nod their head profusely. That's exactly what happens. And so if we know what everyone else isn't doing, then we need to capitalize. We need to capitalize on the things that other people aren't doing, because we all want certain things in life. We want a high sense of fulfillment. We want a job that we love. Maybe we want a promotion, higher paying job. Maybe we want to be CEO someday. Well, if we want those things that other people don't have, we need to start doing things that other people are not doing. And one of those things is leadership development. And so being aware of what's going on and making the choice to start your leadership development now, that is step one. Step number two is understanding where to go down. Do I need to read a bunch of books? Do I need to get a bunch of mentors? What do I need to do? Right. So the first thing is to understand 70-20-10. That's the first chapter of my book. 70-20-10. 70-20-10. Yeah, 70-20-10 is the blended learning model. And basically what it says is that when you're trying to improve on a skill, when you're trying to become better at something, that 70% of that development comes from learning from experience, 20% comes from learning from others, and 10% comes from formal learning. And so, yeah, and so that this was something that was developed by the Center for Creative Leadership back in the 90s, and all Fortune 100 companies still use that model today to help guide development in their businesses.
So this isn't one of those random stats that sometimes I will pull from the ether, and this is something that has actually been tried and true, and that some of the most successful companies actually use, that you have transformed and put it in your book to make it more clear what folks need to do to be more successful leaders. 70-20-10, and that 10% being formal learning, 20% you said learning from others. And then what's that 70% again?
70%, the most important part, that's learning from experience. And if you go back to the actual literature of that study, it's learning from challenging experiences. Because you could just say, hey, I've been in this role for 10 years. Of course I know what I'm doing. That might not be the case, because if you haven't challenged yourself, then you really didn't learn anything.
If you don't mind me asking, what's something, because you are a Marine. Now, I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with some Marines, and know you all are just a different breed of people in terms of your attention to detail, your desire to learn, and in team. That is what I found. What was the most difficult part, if you can answer this, right? The most difficult part, heck, in being a Marine, and then not just that, transitioning into civilian life, if you will, because that is a transition that exists that most people are not aware of. So the most difficult part about being a Marine, and then transitioning into civilian life.
Sure. Well, thank you for that compliment, because being a Marine is something that I hold dear. My wife is also a Marine Corps veteran. My little sister is a Marine Corps veteran. So I have a lot of roots there. So I appreciate the compliments.
Anytime, always.
When you said the most difficult thing, it's something that makes you think as a Marine, because we all have that bravado about being in the Marine Corps that nothing's difficult. This is just how I was born, But I would say the weight that they put on you from day one of representing all of those Marines that came before you. They throw that history in your face, down your throat. You know it by heart. And I can tell you right now that the Eagle Globe and Anchor was adopted in 1898 by Brigadier General Jacob Zeeland. And I can tell you all these other things about the Marine Corps that I've learned and remembered about history because it's ingrained in my brain, in my soul, in my heart. And to think that there's something that I would be doing that would let all of those other Marines down that came before me, that is something that is not easy to swallow. And so that is where all that attention to detail comes from. That's where all of the preparedness comes from, the willingness to work in teams, because you can go pretty fast alone, but you can't go really far alone. If you want to go far and you want to achieve things, you got to go together.
Okay, now I didn't ask you to come on here and start dropping bars. I appreciate you said, listen, you can go fast alone. You just can't go far alone.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Make sure you quote. That is certainly a quotable moment that I'm going to share on your behalf.
Yes, sir.
To your credit. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. And then you asked about the transition. What were you asking? The most difficult thing about that transition from military to civilian?
Sure. Let's start there. I want to start there.
Sure. And that's a good topic because I'm actually next month in November, I'm speaking to a university about that transition. And the speaking session that I'm doing is called Transitioning Your Military Leadership into Civilian and Campus Success. And so one of the things I talk about is that how difficult that is, because take me and my story is very similar to many other Marine stories and any service member. You were in the Marine Corps as soon as you graduated high school. And both of us know now that we're a little bit older that time in your life, 18, 19, 20, 21, that's a formidable time. You learn how to be an adult. You learn how to be a human. Because before that, when you're 18, 17, you're a child. And so I became an adult, a mature person in the Marine Corps. That is all I knew. And then you get thrown into the civilian world. And I use that word specifically and deliberately. You get thrown in the world. When you join the Marine Corps, when you enlist in the Marine Corps, you have 3 months of boot camp. You have about 2 months of combat training. You have more months of MOS training. You have all these months that easily can be put into 1 year of orientation. That's what it is. It's orientation. And it's preparing you to be a Marine, a basically trained Marine. When you leave the Marine Corps, you get 3 days of training to learn how to be a civilian.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing like, holy hell.
3 days. And sometimes it depends on what base you're at. That could be a day and a half. And you could just sit there not doing anything, not learning anything. And so we get thrown into society, into a world that we're not familiar with. Can you imagine you being thrown, or a civilian that has no military experience, being thrown into the military with 3 days of training and just saying, all right, you got to figure it out. Good luck, bud.
That perspective is powerful, not just obviously having a year of orientation, right? A year of orientation to make sure you have the tools to help you to be successful in this realm. But then to know that you have tops 3 days. I'll give it a week. I'll say a week. All right. This isn't that. I'll give it a week, right? Let's say you have a week. Mm-hmm. To then become accustomed to civilian world and everything that it entails. Now, for anyone watching or listening, think about this: for everything the civilian world entails. Mm-hmm. But a powerful point was the point you just made was: imagine if you went into the military and they only gave you a week as a Marine and then said, "Okay, good luck. Go out there and be great." Like what? Right. So thank you for providing, that example so mm-hmm. folks can wrap their minds around what it actually takes to be successful. Now I ask, what helped you be successful as a Marine and now, post, Marine life mm-hmm. as a veteran in your field, quickly rising to being one of the top leadership speakers and certainly the go-to leadership literacy expert. What helped you be great as a Marine and certainly great in your field as a leadership expert?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because I didn't even realize this was a philosophy for who's going to be able to succeed in the military until I heard somebody talk about it, and I wish I could give them credit, but I want to say maybe it was Jocko Willink. But it's funny because you look at all these people in the military and you look at the most successful ones, and a lot of people, especially people who watch a lot of media and watch a lot of TV shows, you look at the Navy SEALs or all the other training videos of like Marine Corps snipers or Green Berets and all these training things. And then you try to make that correlation to people that you know. And what I heard was the most successful people, the people that make it through, and the people that are the true heroes that we generally don't even hear about. They're not the high school athletes. They're not the high school athletes, but the standout athletes. They're not the prom kings. They're not the people that have been on top of their little mountain for their entire life up until that point. Because a lot of those people, they think about themselves. They don't think about other people. The people that succeed the most in the military, and what helped me, was being a team player. I care about other people. I want to help the Marine to the left and to the right of me. And if there's anything that I can do to help ensure that Marine to the left and right of me gets to his or her family at the end of the day, that's what I'm going to do. I want to be good at my job, because I know if I'm good at my job, then that increases the likelihood that the Marines on the right and the left of me can make it home. And so that's the mindset that helped me. And if you want to know about maybe the two top things that pop into my mind, it's that attention to detail, because I was a supply chain and operations Marine, and it was my job to ensure that other Marines had the gear that they needed to do their jobs. And if I didn't do my jobs, then they didn't have the stuff that they needed to complete their jobs. So I needed that attention to detail. And then more than anything, it was the leadership that I had at 18, 19, 20 years old. If I didn't have that leadership, if I was indoctrinated into being a Marine with toxic leadership, then I likely would not be exactly where I am today. So finding good leadership, finding good mentorship, and then caring about those around you, that's what got me through the Marine Corps.
Thank you. And it seems so appropriate that your style and how you deliver your message as a leadership literacy expert, that you would teach leaders, right? How to operate within a team and bring the entire team up. A lot of folks speak about, hey, you're only as strong as your weakest link, but a lot of folks don't want to spend time with the weakest link, to grow to grow them together, right?
Yep.
And you're also as good as the organization. The organization is as good as you leave it, right?
And if I could say something about that weakest link, not to cut you off.
No, I want you to.
This is another thing that all strong leaders know. There are no bad teams. There are only bad leaders.
Uh-oh.
So if you have a weak link and you're the leader, that's your fault. That person is not weak. That person just hasn't had the proper leadership that they need to be the strong link. So there are no bad teams. There are only bad leaders.
Oh, that's a bar right there. Another one. Kurt, you know what? You earned it. There you go. You earned it. You earned another applause. So absolutely amazing. What are some things, as I know, right? Please, let me finish if you don't mind. Absolutely amazing, Chris. What are some things you would like to leave people with, as we, prepare to close out a little bit? Mm-hmm. What are some core things you would like folks to understand? Or if they're watching this, you're like, I need this, or I need this for my team. Like, what are some things you can tell them right now that will help them along the way until they can get in contact with you as a speaker or consultant for their team or campus?
Sure. And I'm going to echo what I already said. It's about that awareness. So I'll quote Warren Buffett. He said that somebody is sitting in shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. So we need to start leadership development now so that we can lean on that later. And then the second thing, and I'll have one more thing after that, is focusing on self-care and awareness. Self-care and awareness and wellness, because we have so many things going on today, and I focus on college students. And so those college students, you and I know it's difficult being a college student. It's stressful normally. Now add in COVID, and then add in protests, add in a divisive election year, add in an economy that we don't even know what it's going to look like when they graduate. Add in all those stressors, and now we have a campus that has student leaders that don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with this stress. And if we don't take care of those student leaders now, then they might lead our campus down the wrong road, and we don't need that because they are the ones that move the campus. All of those student leaders together lead our campus, and so we have to focus on that. And the last thing about wellness, I think a lot of people stop or don't focus on their self-care because they think it's a little bit too expensive. Expensive, not just money-wise, because if you want to eat well, you have to purchase the proper food, and a lot of times that's more expensive than the junk food. But with your time, it's expensive. With the studying that you have to do, it's expensive. Ask somebody with heart disease how expensive that is. Ask somebody with diabetes how expensive that is, not just with their money or their time, but to their loved ones. And so taking care of yourself is hard. It can be. Being overweight is hard. Having a disease that follows you for your entire life, for the rest of your life, that is hard. So all the things are hard. You just have to choose which hard you're willing to deal with and live with. And then, so the last thing with the leadership development, that one thing, or yeah, I'll do one thing that I can leave with the listeners about leadership is good leaders take the blame and they share the praise. That was when I was writing my first book. I'm in a leadership role now, the student edition. When I wrote that book, the first leadership principle that I wrote down was own the blame, share the praise. Every leadership expert and every human being that has a good head on their shoulders knows that when things go wrong and the leader says, I'll take responsibility. Let me take ownership of this. This is mine. This is my fault. I'll fix this. When the leader says that, that is an example of a great leader. How many times have you heard a politician say, I'm going to take all of this?
What's that?
Doesn't happen. The last time that a politician said, this is my fault, I got this wrong. Or the last time a politician said, I don't know, and shrugged their shoulders because they honestly didn't know. Doesn't happen. And so taking ownership of the reality that's going on in your organization and sharing the praise when good things happen, and not just saying, good me, pat on my back, I did a great job, I made sure all of this happened, all this good stuff is because of me. Owning the blame, sharing the praise, that's a basic leadership tenet that I hope I can share with more people, because the world's going to be a better place if we can live by that.
And it absolutely will be a better place if more folks get a chance to know Chris Molina, leadership literacy expert. Chris, how can people find you? Where can they go to find more information about you or connect with you on social media?
Yeah, so the best way would be on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure I post the link in the comments for this video. But you can search Chris Molina and then look for a guy that looks like me, that is a Marine Corps veteran. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle is CA Molina 3, and I post both of those on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I post motivational things on LinkedIn. I will write articles and post longer leadership development posts on there. And then also you can email me if you just want to have a one-on-one conversation. I don't leave you on red very often because I love people. I'm an extrovert's extrovert. So I love talking to people. So my email address is chris@chris-molina.com. So that's CHRIS@CHRIS-MOLINA.com.
Amazing. Thank you so very much for being here with me today, Chris. You know, I'd be remiss. You've earned a couple of these, and I say, why not give you one more before you go? I truly appreciate you being here and being the leadership literacy expert that you are, and being a resource to colleges and universities primarily as they look to make that transition to not just being better leaders, but making sure they're not horrible or become horrible bosses. If this was beneficial to you, if you're watching this or you know someone this could benefit, make sure you share Chris's information with them so they can connect and we can build the world and create the things that we want to see. And there's no better way to do that than connecting with people that you know are a great resource. And you all just met a great resource here. Thank you so very much, Chris, for being here. If you don't mind sticking around just for a little bit backstage, I will be right with you in a minute. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great one. My pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed Top of the Morning with Stan and our special featured guest, Chris Molina, leadership literacy expert. If you're looking to grow your leadership base, your audience, your team, what better way than connect with someone like Chris Molina, who is not only talking about leadership, but he was in the Marine Corps and was a leader there, learned there, and willing to acknowledge a place in which he always wanted to grow or tries to grow each and every single day. So hopefully that was a fruitful interview and message for you. And you can obviously share this. That would be greatly appreciated. Share this, like it, comment. And if you have any questions for Chris or myself about this particular episode, put it in the comment section and we will get to it as early or as often as possible. So do not hesitate. The one way we can be better than we were yesterday is to continue to grow, ask questions, and lean on each other to be the people that we say we want to be. And thank you all for being here for Top of the Morning with Stan. You will see me again here, and make sure that you understand 24/7, 365 and 1/4 days a year that you're good, you're great, you're worth it. And more than that, you must remember that effort on fire beats knowledge on ice. This is Stan Pearson II. You heard it here first. Have a great day. Bye.